Hey, 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 good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. Welcome to another day of Color with me. So I know I said I'd be back at 2 o'clock yesterday. I didn't realize that once Mel and I went to lunch and then I came back that I was wanting to just vegetate on the couch and not move. So I apologize if any of you came to return to color grading with me yesterday. I just we had barbecue. we had some we just went crazy on these barbecue ribs, and yeah, I got back and I was just dead to the world. So I apologize, but I'm back today, and it's good to see all of you. Give me a shout out. Let me know where you're hailing from. But it's good to see some familiar faces out there. So we are going to have a really exciting day. We're going to be covering several things. I want to thank one of our community members who brought up shared nodes in the comment. I want to show all of you what shared nodes are and how powerful they are. I have not talked about them just because I haven't gotten to that content yet. Just a reminder for some of you that this is a new channel, and I'm going over color grading of the TV series that are produced here at Night Studios. We've so far produced 5 TV series. We have 3 that are in the pike right now. So it's a total of 8 franchises. And I'm going over just a lot of the common everyday grading techniques, my color pipeline is part of my workflow. So there's some things that I haven't covered yet. It doesn't mean I'm not going to cover them. It doesn't mean that I don't like them. One of them is shared nodes. It's incredibly powerful, and I want to show you what those are for those of you who've never heard of them. And I also had someone reach out to me thanking me for the video on groups. I thought that groups and grouping nodes within the color tab was a very commonly understood thing, something that everyone knew about. But shame on me because I shouldn't assume anything on this channel. I don't want any of you to feel like, oh, Nightlight, that show isn't for me because I'm not an expert color grader, or it's not for me because I am an expert color grader. I want this channel to be for everyone. If there's anything that you don't understand or you want me to cover, please let me know. I'm making this content for all of you, not for myself. It's for you, and so I also don't want to be constantly talking at you. So please definitely make this more of a community. Register at nightstudios.com for the Night Studios Insider Program. You will actually win. We do regular contests where you can win a spot on our cast for a future TV show. Also, you have an opportunity to participate in Night Studios events. We do AMC red carpet movie premieres. We've done 5 in total so far across all of our franchises. So you can win a ticket to an AMC red carpet premiere event, and it's totally free. There's no cost. There's pretty much no cost to anything on this channel. Um, for those of you who are not following me on social media, on LinkedIn, on X, or Instagram, subscribe and follow me on my other social channels. I do regular announcements on my social media channels. I do try and syndicate that to the community tab of YouTube, but it's not uncommon for me to just put something out on Instagram or put something out on LinkedIn. So definitely follow me on those other channels. I've exceeded over the 30,000 limit on LinkedIn, so you can't unfortunately connect with me anymore, but you can follow me. So that is available to you as well. But I'm also very frequently on Instagram. I feel like X is filled with too much hate and violent stuff. I really don't like sitting on X. So for those of you who are DMing me on X, I'm just not there that often. I would probably say I just have those X accounts for Night Studios, Night TV Plus, and some of our channels, just to have that as an additional platform to send out announcements. So if you're DMing me there and you're not getting a response, try hitting me up on Instagram or hitting me up here on YouTube. There are some big announcements that are coming. So tonight at 5 o'clock, we're making a major announcement regarding our TV network, Night TV Plus. So that's coming at 5. Today, about an hour ago, I did put out an announcement about the theme this week, Calm Before the Storm. That's the new theme for this week, and all of our videos will be around that. And what the theme is it's very thematic to all of the content that might happen before the production. So it's a pre-production week. So while I'll still do these live streams where you're color grading with me in my color suite, I do try and stick to a theme every week. So every week there's a new theme. Because I put out so many videos per week, I'm not a once per week content creator. If you notice, I'm putting out 3 to 5 videos per week, a podcast. I want to center them around a theme so all of you can sort of center around this common theme with all of my content. So this week it's Calm Before the Storm. So we are actually going to be taking you on a tour of Night Studios and where we actually site our set equipment. So we're going to give you a tour of our production van. We're going to give you a tour of our equipment siting. So it's going to be a really fun week. I'm really excited about it. I've been wanting to take all of you on a tour of that, show you our equipment, show you all of our Pelican cases and shelves of all of our equipment, and have you sort of have a better understanding of what we go through pre-production, and we're calling that the day before. So we'll be going over that. Definitely let me know in the community tab and on the forum what you want to see for upcoming content. I got some great ideas with the groups tab. So I will be talking about groups a little bit more in this live stream today, and I will also be covering shared notes. So definitely thank you to those community members who submitted those to me and put those in the comments. I want to know what all of you want to see. But welcome to the community. Thank you for being here. I love all of you and I appreciate you being part of this community and helping us grow it. Definitely tell your friends about it. Subscribe, watch. This will be our second monetized channel. The other one is Night TV Plus. For those of you who are not subscribed to it, we have a YouTube channel called Night TV Plus, which is the TV channel for, is the YouTube channel for our TV network. And there's going to be some announcements tonight regarding our partnership with YouTube. But we are close to getting this channel monetized. We're just short of the watch hours. So I think yesterday we hit 1,000 hours. So we have a total of 3,000 watch hours to go for total to be able to be monetized. So help us by watching videos. Help us by letting your friends know about the channel, because this is a community, right? It takes a village. So I appreciate all of you. Help me make this channel what you want to see in it. Okay. It looks like my um my okay. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Mac OS. My um trackpad keeps dying. I don't know why that's happening. Anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and jump into screen sharing. So the other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that in today's live stream, I'm actually going to be covering visual effects. So we're going to be doing some VFX today. I know some of you are super excited about that. We're going to be grading, starting out with the shootout scene between the drug cartel and the DEA. So I want to show all of you how to do visual effects if you're not, a super hardcore expert in Adobe After Effects. It's pretty easy to put in like gunshot recoil, fire coming out of the nozzle of a gun, as well as smoke. So we'll be covering that today. It's going to be a really fun day. So thanks for joining us. This will be going pretty much the rest of the day. So for any of you who are on a time crunch or you have meetings to attend or whatever, jump out, jump back in. I should still be streaming. I do know that Mel's going to want to at some point break for lunch, but I'll let all of you know, and I'll let you know as far as whether or not we'll be coming back to start the stream again. So, all right, let's get started. Share my screen. Let's share an entire window. Why isn't DaVinci Resolve showing up? Oh, there it is. That was weird. Okay. All right, so all of you should see my screen now. Before I jump into the shootout scene and grading, let me just make sure nobody has any questions before we get started or comments. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Dabby. It's good to see you. Devin joining us today. Ron Eddings, look at you. Thanks for joining us, Ron. Oh my God. Narain, we got some goats in here today. Alvin, good to see you. Devin, I don't understand 90% of what you're referring to or talking about in some of these videos, but I learned a ton. And now I know a bit more than I did. Makes sense as a graphic designer, but now I have Increase my palette and vocabulary, thanks you. Oh, cool, awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of, nomenclature and terminology within color grading and editing. NLE, for example, for those of you who are like, "What the hell are you saying, Alyssa? What's NLE?" It's non-linear editor, and so back in the film days when they would edit, right? Edit and color grade, it was linear, and now with, digital transformation in Hollywood and everything moving to digital, our first Hollywood movie, The Creator, being filmed on a DSLR camera. Can you believe all of that? Do all of you Have any of you seen that movie, The Creator? It's unbelievable. Well, some people don't know the fact that it was shot entirely on an FX3. This is like a $4,000, $3,000 consumer camera. It's the first $80 million big budget Hollywood movie shot on a freaking DSLR. Unbelievable. Anyway, NLE, terminology. If any of you don't understand anything, there are no dumb questions here, and I will ban anyone who trolls or bullies anyone on the channel. So if you have a question, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Ask it. I will answer it. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. I don't know everything, but we can look it up together and figure it out together. So let's first, you know what, before I jump into this, I want to quickly oh, hey, Port Swigger, awesome. Burp Suite, yay. Okay, so I wanna quickly actually, before we jump into that, I wanna show all of you the VFX site that I use, because it's actually super cool. Let me go to I'll go to YouTube, we'll share that tab. Okay, so I wanna show all of you actionvfx.com. So for those of you who are not familiar with it, there are websites that you can go to and subscribe to where they sell overlays. For example, like you see here, rain, right? So some of you are like, "Wow, I can't believe they shot that in the rain." A lot of the times that's all post-production visual effects, and it's super easy to overlay VFX on top of footage. And I'll show you how to do that properly because I have seen a lot of people do this wrong, and it looks so bad. Do not get this wrong. There's something that I want to teach all of you today called compositing. And compositing is the process of taking layers and sort of determining or defining how those layers are merged or, just squished together, and how your upper layers get sort of merged into the bottom layers. Now, Action VFX is one of the many sites that offer what I would consider Hollywood grade, high quality VFX overlays. There's other ones like Motion Array, but I'm very partial to Action VFX. So they have rain, they have muzzle flashes, and we'll be covering muzzle flashes today in the shootout scene. They also have atmospheric smoke and fog. They have just you can set an entire room on fire. For those of you who think that they're actually shooting inside a room that's on fire, most of the time that's too dangerous, totally not happening. And they're adding that fire in post production. So, you'll see, for those of you who are big fans of Chicago Med and Chicago PD like me, a lot of that terror scene where the hospital was blown up, that was all post production VFX. You can make an entire room. I could make this entire room. Maybe we'll do that one day where I'll take my entire color suite and set it on fire, right? All of that is post production VFX. Blood splatter, you don't have to do that with special effects on set. You can do that in post. Obviously, that it's that whole, fix it in post thing that editors and colors hate. When the DP or anyone in the production crew says that, just because it adds so much time, effort, and energy into fixing it in post. So you try and do as much as possible um, in production. Now I'll show you in the shootout scene with the drug cartel today, where I was actually laying on the ground and with a paintball gun and firing bullet hits up at the window of the car we rented. It was a rental, so and we did get the insurance. But by shooting the window, I was able to actually hit them with these custom made special effects bullet hits that are either filled with sand if you wanna hit them against a brick wall or a wall to make it look like a bullet hit the wall, or you can use, what are called, Vaseline hits, where it's got Vaseline and glitter inside of the paintball, and I that's what I did is I filled the paint the I had a fully automatic paintball gun where I was laying on the ground, it was 120 degrees out here in Vegas in the middle of the desert. I was laying on the ground shooting upwards with this fully automatic paintball gun, and they were filled with Vaseline and glitter, so every time the bullet hit the window, it looked like Vaseline and glitter was splattering everywhere, and so what that made it look like obviously was glass. It looked like glass was hitting our talent. Now, for those of you who thought that was visual effects, it was not. I wanted to do as much as I could on set because of how I knew how intense the shootout scene was going to be, and you'll see that today. We're gonna grade that today. We're gonna edit that today. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and log in. So I'm actually logged in right now. You can see a list of all of my downloads. So you can see that I've bought, I've downloaded Balls of Fire. They do actually have some free visual effects that you can download. I've downloaded Fire Sparks. I've also downloaded, just water hits. So, bullets hitting water. These are different muzzle flashes that I've purchased and downloaded. Some are free, some you have to pay for. It's not gonna break the bank. It's not like it's gonna be thousands of dollars. You just get a subscription depending on what kind of creator you are, and they have different tiered pricing if you're a studio versus an individual VFX artist. And then you can go in here and select what kind of muzzle flashes that you want. So I downloaded the Colt 45. Yeah, and believe it or not, what's neat about Action VFX is they actually shot these guns to create this. This is not created synthetically for me, which looks so much more real. They basically shoot it against a black screen or a green screen. But yeah, so I downloaded the one for the AR-15 because that's what our talent was using was an AR-15 and then an M249 automatic gun. This was if yeah, and you'll see this. I know that this show hasn't been released yet, so I know none of you have seen it, but there's a helicopter scene where we had our talent in the an attack helicopter and an A-star helicopter, and they were firing an automatic weapon. But for safety reasons and for other reasons regarding just timing and costs, we didn't want to have them actually firing it. So what I did was I did everything in post production. So it's just something to think about where maybe sometimes it may not make sense to do it on set, either cost or just safety to your cast and crew or budget. Maybe budget doesn't allow you to actually fire a gun or set a room on fire. Maybe it does have to be in post production, and I'll teach all of you how to do that today. All right. All right. Let me go back to restream and change screen I'm sharing. Cloak asks, I have one question. I heard when using DWG colors not looking same in Fusion page. Is there any workaround? Oh, so Cloak is talking about DaVinci Wide Gamut. I have actually not heard that about colors looking different in Fusion. Um, when if you can expound on that, is it just in the Fusion page, or is it actually once you render as well? You also wanna, look into, monitor issues and also your project settings. I don't know, if it's an issue where, maybe your monitor's not color graded, what kind of monitor you're using. Are you using a reference monitor like, you know, um, Flanders Scientific or anything like that that's properly graded? But, yeah, I haven't actually heard that. If it's talked about in the forums, I don't know. But yeah, if you can expound on that, that would be great. They definitely shouldn't be looking different or wrong when you export the project and render it. Glad you found our channel too, Cloak. It's good to have you part of the community. Pull up a chair, stay a while. Just in the Fusion page, I heard it's because of different color space Fusion. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, Cloak, but Fusion actually used to be a completely separate platform and product. Like with DaVinci Resolve, how Blackmagic Systems actually uh, Blackmagic Design bought DaVinci Resolve from DaVinci, the company. For it used to be sold for like a quarter million or $500,000. It was incredibly expensive. Anyway, they started like Lego blocks building all of these different capabilities within DaVinci Resolve, and I know that Fusion was one of them. I'm not entirely surprised to hear that, but I have not run into that issue. It might also be, a difference of what you might be grading, but, yeah, I apologize. I unfortunately have not heard of that issue, but it's good that it's only in Fusion. While it can be a, real pain in the butt because you are looking at different color space in Fusion, once you go into the color tab where you should be doing your color grading and you're gonna need the most accurate color representation possible in your color space, that's where it really should matter. But yeah, that's really weird. I haven't actually heard that before. Alrighty then. You guys ready? Guys and girls ready? All right, let's do this. All right, so I am going to share my DaVinci Resolve window and we will go into the shootout scene. Okay, so if all of you remember yesterday, we were grading the scene with the cartel family, and now the cartel family has ordered all of their product be shipped and moved out through the San Diego border. And these are the drug traffickers, and they get into a firefight with the DEA here on the border. So obviously we didn't want them firing blanks, and we don't, we never use, I can tell you this, at every Night Studios production and every show, we never use live real guns. Our insurance company would have a heart attack if we didn't want another Rust situation. People will be talking about that Rust, the death of that DP, and on the Rust set, for a very long time. But yeah, it's yeah. So we don't want safety issues. We don't want people being shot with real guns. So we actually use airsoft guns. We don't put any, obviously we don't put any pellets or BBs in the airsoft guns. So all of these, while they do look real, are actually airsoft guns. So we used airsoft guns in this entire firefight, and knowing that I was just going to put the muzzle flashes and the actual shots. You see that on the windshield right there? Let me go back. Do you see this right here? This is actually me in front of the car shooting the windshield with those bullet hits that I talked about. They're not that cheap, I will warn you. I think they're like $4 per shot, so you never want to miss. But for about $100, $200, you pretty much got enough for an entire scene or two. But here, we have, you can see the muzzle flashes there. That's all uh, Action VFX right there. Those are all muzzle flashes and smoke from Action VFX. And so I'll show you how I did that. You're basically just going from scene to scene, and you're using your keying to make sure. Did you see that? Look at that. There's the Colt 45 coming out of the handgun. But you're using and there's definitely some improvements I'm going to go through since I'm going to be doing this again on that. But you're basically using whatchamacallit, keys to move the muzzle flashes every time the gun moves, because you always want your actors when they're shooting to imitate the recoil, right? So every time an actor recoiled, you need your muzzle flash to follow that gun. So I'll show all of you how to do that. But here you can see, we'll finish out the scene. You see them walking towards the car, pop the trunk, and then they see the drugs. Yeah, this is totally inspiration from Pulp Fiction. But so that's it. So I just wanted to show all of you how to do that. So this is super simple. What I do here with the muzzle flashes, and you can see another reason here. So I'm not really done with this, but you can see that I need to move that over, and I'll show you how to do that. So you always just want to make sure that you set your um, tracking on position, on where the position of that frame is. So if you move it, and you can go ahead and make sure that you've got the right clip. And you can see I've got a bunch of muzzle flashes on here. So it's, It's finding the right one. Come on. Where are you? There you are. Okay. So, obviously what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna and if you notice that keystone highlighted as soon as I moved it, it means that it's now created a new keyframe on that line and it's gonna follow where I just set it. So now, oh, that's the smoke. We of course want to move that. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Alyssa, when you set the whatchamacallit, the fire, when the gun is firing, why is it moving? Why are you well, what happened was I came in here and I resized these frames. And when you resize the frames, obviously you're changing the XY coordinates of where that gun muzzle is. So that muzzle flash is off now. So we need to go in there and we need to fix all this muzzle flash that's off. So again, you just need to find the right muzzle flash. Ideally, you would group these together, which is probably what I'll go in here and do. That's incredibly I will tell you right now that compositing is incredibly time intensive. It's very laborious. Um, it's just something that takes a lot of time. So the more you can save time by, grouping things together and making, it's that whole Abraham Lincoln's. If I had 8 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. Spend majority of your time organizing and getting things grouped together so it's easier to easier to find. You can see now the muzzle flash is following that gun because of all the keyframes that I've set. And you just wanna go through one at a time, you know, find everything that you're doing and just make sure you move it to so it's in the right spot. I tend to use my left and right. Oh, did you see that? Look at the glass right there exploding. That's me hitting it with the paintball gun. So, I'll show you right here. Look at that. It's amazing. It's funny, it was, we had to make sure to buy the right paintball gun because if you buy one that doesn't have adjustable power, you can actually break the window. I was like, "Oh, man, we need to definitely get the insurance because I don't know if this is the right setting. I don't know if I'm gonna break this window or not." So that's all you're doing. So I create a little VFX folder, and here's my gun smoke, here's my automatic rifle. Um, do all of you wanna see that helicopter scene? I'll show you the helicopter scene. So all of you can see, let me see where that's at. I think it's near the end. Yep. Okay, so here it is. So this was another crazy firefight scene. Um, yeah, this helicopter was not cheap to rent. Um, no, Night Studios does not own an A-Star helicopter. We rented that. But this gives you an idea of what I did with the visual effects on the helicopter scene. So I've muted it. There's nothing wrong with your speakers. I just turned off the sound. So it's not distracting us while we're editing and working. So here you have the talent. They're actually in a helicopter. This is not our virtual production stage. They're actually in an A-Star helicopter. There's our pilot. He's actually a Marine. Um, but this is a real, this is not visual effects. This is a real saw machine gun. And you can see here where and 100% from the building blowing up, everything was all visual effects. So here's the establishing shot. There we go. You see you see yeah, all of this is VFX. Bullet hits, everything, missile. So this is the power of compositing. It's incredibly powerful. I would urge all of you, go out there, with your own camera and take some fake guns and shoot, just shoot a little shootout like this. This doesn't, you don't have to be making a TV show. You can just go out there with some friends, act out a scene from a shootout, and then go in there and load it into DaVinci Resolve and use Action VFX, put in your overlays. Now, let me show you the compositing. This is where I've seen a lot of people screw this up. All right, so once you put the um, you know what? Let me just show you so you know what I'm talking about. Um, I'm just gonna give you an idea of what this is gonna look like. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let me do Air 15 side. Okay. All right. So if you see that, you see that? Okay. So obviously this is not in the right place. I just want to show all of you something. Um, You need to resize this, obviously, because a muzzle flash is not gonna be that large. So, let's pretend that the gun is right here, okay? That the muzzle is right there and it's a side shot. I have seen a lot of people screw this up. They put this on their timeline and they resize it and they think, "Oh, okay, that's all I need to do. I'm done." Yeah, that's all I need to do. And that's literally what it looks like. And it looks so bad. I can't even tell you. So, look, this is what you need to make sure to do. When you're doing compositing, you have to change the composite mode. All right. So you can actually, if you notice, as I change the composite mode, it's doing different things to this layer, to this visual effects layer, right? It's like it's 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 changing how it merges the layers together. Um, and so the interesting thing about it here is when people grab these overlays, a lot of the times these sites, like especially Action VFX, they'll tell you what to do, like how to configure it and how to actually do compositing. There's like little 2-minute videos that show you how to properly do this. And I'll still see people that are, they're making a low budget film, they don't have the money to hire VFX artists. So they'll throw these, Action VFX things on here. And doesn't this look way more real? Look at how more real that looks. And the reason why is I changed the compositing mode from normal to screen. So look at normal. Look how you see that outline? That looks absolutely ridiculous and totally fake. But when I change the composite mode to screen, it looks a lot more realistic, right? So, it's just understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and just remember, your job as an editor, your job as a colorist is to make something look natural. As a colorist, your job is to make it look natural. So, make it look natural. No gun is gonna have, you know, anything like that. That's just ridiculous. So make sure you change your composite mode. You can also change your opacity. If, for example, it's the overlay that you got just isn't that great, and you still want to use it, you can always bring down the opacity of it and make it look a little bit more real. But it's just take your time with it, right? Don't rush. All right, everyone. Hopefully you learned something. That was a big one. That I can tell you that compositing this shootout scene as well as the one where they raid the drug lab, that took me easily multiple days. Like you just can't rush compositing because you have to get the alignment of all of those muzzle flashes and the shots just perfectly aligned. You never want to you know, you never wanna rush something like that. But, good things take time. The more effort that you put into something, the more real it's gonna look, right? I'm probably even gonna do something with that smoke to make it look more like the car is actually layered on top of it. So I'll do some more with that. So anyway, that's VFX in its finest. So let me now go to the color tab because that's what we're all here for is to color grade. All right, so let's go to here. All right, so we're gonna obviously bring our node tree over. Now, one of the things that I do want to mention is that this is stock footage, and you're probably wondering, hey, Alyssa, how do we grade stock footage when it's not? Well, one of the things that you want to make sure to do first and foremost, please don't grab stock footage from Adobe Stock for a TV show or a feature film. It a lot of the stuff on Adobe Stock looks like stock footage. There are better stock footage sites. Now I'm gonna introduce all of you to 2 sites that I want you to know about. Share Chrome tab again. All right, so I want all of you to be aware of a site called FilmPack. Um, FilmPack is more cinematic, more filmic stock footage that doesn't look like stock. I've just like, for example, I don't know, let's just type in hoodie. You know, I mean, I've seen stock footage that clearly looks like stock, and then you'll see stock footage that looks absolutely nothing like stock footage. So this can make or break your film. All right. So be careful of where you get stock footage from. Let me give you an example. If I go to, oh, oops, sorry. I forgot I'm only sharing a certain tab. Filmpack.com, and another one is Artlist. This is another really good stock footage site that doesn't look like stock footage. You know, it's just, you know, there's just, I don't know. There's stock footage and then there's stock footage, right? Um, but if you go to like something like stock.adobe.com and you type in hoodie, just to give you an example. Oh, oops. Let's change that to video. You know, this I mean, come on. Clearly this is stock footage, right? So it has that stock footage look. It's stocky, if that's a word. I'm making it a word. It's stocky. And so it's just not something you would see in, you know, something that's more of a feature film or a TV show, right? Something like what I showed you with Film Pack, right? This is more cinematic, right? You know, it's just less stocky. Anyway, all right, so that's stock footage. But you know, so back to my point. Oh, you know what? While I'm here, let me look at some of your questions. Oh yeah, sorry about that, Alvin. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I when was I sharing the wrong screen? Sorry about that. Um. Oh, unless it stopped. Hopefully, all of you saw the shootout. Hopefully, those are old comments. Let me know if you guys saw the shoot scene from the attack helicopter. Um, we see U.S. Air Force. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That was just now when I was showing you the website. Did you all see the website where I was showing you the stock footage, or was it still sharing DaVinci Resolve? So basically, to make sure you guys saw it, guys and girls saw it, I shared my Chrome tab where I showed the different stock footage sites. Oh, you didn't see the attack helicopter. Okay, I apologize. Let me oh, you know why? It's probably because I went full screen. Okay, hold on one second. Let me reshare that so all of you can see that because it's important for you to see. Um, episode 5 final cut. Okay, so all of you should now see my DaVinci Resolve window. Let me hide this. All right, so hopefully all of you also saw the shootout scene. Um, but let me take you to the helicopter scene. Okay. Yeah, I made a guest appearance in this episode. All right. So, yep, I can see you guys and girls can all see that. So here you see, you know, the talent at the saw machine gun. Again, you know, we didn't have the time or the additional budget to, you know, buy all of the rounds because you have to buy every bullet. You literally, seriously, you have to buy every bullet that you shoot. So I wasn't about that life. Wasn't about that life. I didn't want that journey for me. So I just decided we would do it in post. So all of you should hopefully now see them in the helicopter at the saw machine gun. You see Paul on the radio, letting them know that the target's in sight and that they're coming up to the target. We have the establishing shot of the helicopters, and you can see him firing the saw machine gun, and you can see all of this. All of this is pure VFX. So we've got the Apache helicopter shooting the missile, the explosion of the building. So you can make everything look so real with VFX. You can make it look so real. It's crazy what you can do now with, digital transformation in Hollywood, changing how we produce films. So clearly we need to get to the color grading on all this. None of this is graded, but you can see all of the visual effects that went into this attack. So we'll get into that. We'll cover all that. I promise. Yeah. Cool. Hey Eric, good to have you here. Alvin, Yui. Sorry, I hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yui or you. Um, Chris, great to see you here. Man, we got some amazing folks in the audience today. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Post production, man, color grading. I don't know. I like to say that. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let's go back to DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, so I don't know. I say that, they say that especially with sound design, that music is the soul of the film. I really feel like color grading is the personality of the film. It's really the mood and personality of it. It's you we have such huge we have such huge responsibilities as color graders on a film to really create the mood, the emotion, that we want that film or that TV show to convey. And I don't know if any of you have noticed, and this is what I really believe, that TV production, TV series are really changing, right? For those of you who are as old as me, I'm an old woman. I'm turning oh god, I'm turning 45 in January. So, I grew up in different television, right? There was no such thing as streaming TV platforms, right? TGIF. Any of you remember TGIF? Full House. Anyway, TV shows were different back then, right? It was a very standard. It was more color correction than actually color grading. And it was just pure color correction. But have you noticed, some of you who've seen Wednesday, seen Jack Ryan, some of these series on these streaming platforms are taking more of a filmic cinematic look? As a matter of fact, a lot of the TV series now actually are using letterboxing. And for those of you who, if this is a new term for you, letterboxing are these bars on the top and bottom. So if you go to timeline, you can go to it's called output blanking, and you can change the size of those bars. 2.35 is, it depends on the format, and maybe I should do a full video on letterboxing. But usually, 2.35 is the most common. But even the TV shows are taking on letterboxing. They're taking on output blanking, where they'll letterbox it and make it look more cinematic. This is a changing trend. I really believe that there's a fundamental transformation happening. There's a pivot happening in television where it's becoming way more cinematic. If you look at some of the TV series out there, a lot of them are running over an hour, right? Soon I'm sure we'll see, 90-minute TV shows, 90-minute pilots, and becoming more long and more long format, type of content. um you're just seeing, especially for the any of you who've seen Wednesday, we were like obsessed with Wednesday. And it's got that whole orange and teal grade, moody grade to it for a TV show. Everybody, this isn't a film. Wednesday was a TV series, and I think they're actually coming back with a season 2. But same thing, with China White. Our co-producers wanted a more filmic cinematic look, so I chose an orange and teal. Now, what's for those of you who missed the previous episodes, where I've been updating you on Dark Ops, we're actually re-releasing it, which is why I'm going through all this color grading. We're re-releasing it as three 1-hour miniseries, and it got picked up for a new season, so we're going back to set, and we're actually going to be filming it starting from season 1 again. In the previous episodes that all of you are color grading with me in my color suite, we're color grading the miniseries. So that's why we're going through all of this. We're gonna take the episodes, and instead of breaking them up into individual parts, it's gonna be 3 one-hour episodes as a miniseries. And so, but we're taking on more of a traditional sort of grade versus any sort of creative grade with it, like the orange and teal look. So anyway, yeah, color grading. I agree with you, Chris. Is a huge part of post production and my favorite. Obviously, I would definitely, even though I do the editing as well as the color grading, I consider myself definitely to be a colorist. So all right. So let's speaking of which, let's go back to where we left off and let's color grade the shootout scene. All right. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, I want all of you to be aware of something that you should have set in your timeline. Is it timeline or is it clip? It's oh, sorry, wrong tab. Oh, this thing keeps getting in my way. Let's see. Oh, no. What menu is that on? Selection. Add change in 18.6. Oh, selection false, so it's under timeline. So, oh, my microphone arm is in the way and was blocking it. Okay, so selection follows playhead. This is something that a lot of you need to make sure you have checked because it's off by default. Okay, so what is this? So selection follows playhead. When you turn that on, all right, selection follows playhead, it automatically selects the clip that it's on. All right. Now, why does this matter? Because there'll be times, and I do this all the time until I enabled this. Um, and I want to say Darren Moston showed me this. So basically, what happens when you have this turned on is it automatically selects the clip that the playhead is on. And what will happen is before I turned that on, I would go in here and I would change the zoom factor or the position of a video, and I won't realize that I've got the wrong clip selected. So usually when I'm changing the dimensions of a clip, it's where my playhead is. So once I turned that on, that problem stopped. I didn't have that problem again. So it's off by default. I don't know why. I think it should be on by default, but selection follows playhead under timeline menu. Make sure that's checked because it will save you a lot of headache. I've gone in there and made adjustments and didn't realize why those adjustments weren't showing up when I played it, and it was because I was making the adjustments to the wrong damn clip. The struggle's real. The struggle's real. But okay. So yeah, so let's go ahead and let's go to the shootout scene. So we did this, we graded that. Um, oh, here it is. All right. So here, all right. So we were talking about stock footage, right? And how do you grade it? Well, one of the first things that you want to make sure of is when you do go to actual cinema, oh, I'm trying to make up words now. More filmic, um, cinematic stock footage sites like FilmPack is they'll give you an option to download a ProRes version of the video file. Now, ProRes, Apple ProRes 422 high quality HQ, it's going to be a high quality, basically a high quality log image, right? So it allows you to color grade it versus downloading something that isn't log. It's color corrected. It's got contrast. It's got vibrant colors. It's going to be very difficult for you to shot match that to your grade. Now, if any of you remember this, I taught this in my last video. If you want to shot match something, all you have to do is right click and say shot match to this clip, right? So I can go in here and let's apply my node tree. So if I right click on my clip, right click on my clip, apply grade, you can see my entire version 2.1 node tree is now here. So I can go in here, let's go through our basics. Let's go through our standard operating procedure of adjusting the luminosity. So let's go here. Let's go to our HDR wheels, go to the exposure window, and we're going to bring up our luminosity. That was definitely too dark. When you're grading, just remember that you want to find your hero image to grade against. I'm looking at Nobe Omniscope. It looks like we have some newcomers in. Oh, there's a new version available. God, they just brought a new version out yesterday. That's awesome. Okay, so for those of you who are first timers, I see a lot of new faces in the audience right now. One of the most common misconceptions about DaVinci Resolve is that you have to use their scopes. This is not, in fact, true. You can actually use external scopes. So these are the scopes from DaVinci Resolve. And I promise you, I know a lot of you are waiting on dedicated videos just on scopes, like just the vector scope, just the waveform, just the histogram. I promise you I will. Those are in my content calendar to create videos on those. But one of the things that I've recently announced is a new partnership with Omniscope, who's now sponsoring our channel. We have the vector scopes here, and you know, you can break those up into the lows, mids, and highs, and false color and source signal. The neat thing about Nobe Omniscope, and I apologize if this is repeat for a lot of you, but the neat thing about Nobe is you can hold down your shift key and you can highlight just an area of the image, and it will update your charts like your histogram and your vector scope to show you just that area. So it's really easy. It makes it a lot easier to, color correct against that. And the other thing that I want all of you to know about is if you hold down your option key, it will show you, it will overlay the original image onto the scope. So Nobe Omniscope will actually teach you how to use scopes. So for those of you who don't know how to use scopes, the neat thing about Omniscope is it teaches you how to use them with this overlay. So you have an idea of what you're looking at when you're playing around with your scopes. Super powerful. Love this about Nobe. You cannot do this with the scopes in DaVinci Resolve, right? You see how I'm always telling all of you that the skin tones live in the mids? If I highlight just her skin, and this is for anyone. This is for white talent, black talent, brown talent, anyone. All of their skin tones will lie along this skin tone line. So our talent right here, she's Hispanic. So her skin is more of like a cinnamony tone. It's still lying along that tone line, right? That skin tone line. Right. So super powerful. I would urge all of you to pick up a copy of Omniscope. Listen, this 30% off deal that they're running for the month of October, I haven't seen them offer a discount that high before. So if you want to buy Omniscope, go buy it, but buy it before October 31st because I don't know if they'll ever run this 30% off again. So I do have a discount code that I'll put out there after October, but it's not 30%. I'll tell you that right now. So definitely go pick up a copy of Omniscope. It's a super powerful set of scopes that you can use. Okay. So we've just adjusted our luminosity. So remember, first thing we do before we color grade is we color correct. All right. So now let's go to balance. And this is, adjusting for white balance. If we feel like this image is just a little too warm and we want to we want to white balance this, we can either go automatic and white balance against a certain area, or we can use our scopes and white balance manually. I'll take a comparison between the two and decide which one I like the best. You can see if I hit Command D, enable or disable this node, all of you will notice sort of what changes. This is definitely a lot warmer, whereas this is a lot cooler, right? So, I'm always telling all of you there's no wrong way to color grading. There's no wrong answer. There's no good way and bad way. There's just your way. What do you feel looks the best, or your director or your producer? What do they feel looks best? Alright, so I did it again. I balanced on the wrong node. This is just something that, unfortunately will happen, especially when you're teaching, at the same time trying to grade, which isn't easy. But, yeah, so I you wanna split your luminosity, your balancing, your contrast, you wanna split those up across different nodes. So I'm gonna go back in here, I'm gonna redo this. Let's adjust our exposure. Okay, bring that up. Remember, a little goes a long way in color grading. And I'm pretty happy with that. I'm looking at my scopes, nothing's really blown out. We don't have any overexposed areas. And now I'm gonna go to balance. And again, we can use the auto white balance if we want. Another way to do this is not just with that, but we can also pick up here and go to the whites, and you can see what happens. It tries to expose for that, and then we go to the dark areas, right? Again, not perfect, not perfect in the least. So we can go in here, we can reset that, and go in here and pick up the eyedropper and grade for that area. I like that. That I don't know what you all think, but that looks pretty good, right? Not too bad. I'm definitely more of, especially when you're dealing with, drug cartels and more moody situations. I definitely like a more moody, cool look whenever we've got the drug cartel in the scene. All right. So now I can actually go along here and take this and shot match against it. I can right click and I can say shot match to this clip. Oh, look at that. Not bad, right? So now what we can do, one of the things I neglected to do was adjust for some contrast. So let's bring some contrast in here. Bring that contrast up. Let's not go too bad. We don't want to crush the blacks or blow out any of the whites. I think that's pretty good. So now I can go here and just say shot match against that. And you can see we brought in, oh, you know what? We need to bring in the node tree too. Let's apply grade. And now we can either right click and say apply the grade from this, or we can say shot match to this clip. But if you notice, it's doing it all on one node. Did you see that? Did all of you see that? So it will do it on a node by node basis. So if you want to split that up, like we have our luminosity, our balance, and our contrast split up, you what you're going to want to do is just right click on this and say apply grade. This is pretty much the same thing, right? And if you notice those, uh, the gamma, the gain, all kind of match up with this shot, right? So I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe bring in a little bit more contrast, a little more grit to this scene. And clearly this is like super blown out. Let's right click here, apply grade. And you know what? I'm actually just going to start with a raw tree. Bring that luminosity down. Oh, you know what I should show all of you is shared nodes. I'll do that right now. Let me bring this luma down first. Looks pretty good, right? Then I can white balance against the clouds because people typically expect clouds to look white. So let's go here. For those of you who are new to the channel and are watching for the first time, I do have an entire video on color correction grading. It's called the Hollywood Colorist Teaches Color Grading. In there, I talk about sort of where to decide to color grade against, whether or not it's against the talent's teeth or maybe a white wall behind them. But you typically want to color correct or balance against where the talent will most likely be focusing. I have a tendency to color to white. Blah, blah, blah. Not enough coffee today. I have a tendency to balance against the largest object. So I have a tendency if the talent is if there's a white wall behind them, I'll typically balance for the white wall behind them. If there isn't a white wall behind them and there's just sort of like something going on like with this scene with the mountains and the desert behind them, I'll color grade against their white teeth because the audience will typically expect your talent to have white teeth, not purple or pink teeth. So, it's all a creative decision on what you do. Um, Obviously, it looks like, as we enter, and this is what I'm talking about with the hero shot, you wanna make sure that whenever you're grading, you find your hero shot to and your hero shot is, what is the most important frame, whether it's talent or in this case, the car, the Audi, that we wanna grade with. And the reason why is if you notice, if I color grade sorry, if I color against this image without the car there, and I bring the contrast up, right? Bringing the contrast up, what's gonna happen is as soon as that comes into frame, I can without even looking at my scopes, I can see that we overcrushed our blacks. So you really wanna make sure that you've got your hero shot. Look at that. That's way come on, everybody. There's like we've lost all of our information here where, we've lost all of the information in those blacks. So we've definitely overcrushed it. So you always want to make sure, and I'll just double click on the word contrast and bring that back, and you can see we've brought our information back. Now, Night Studios, we shoot with Arri Alexa Mini LF cameras as well as the Red V Raptor. So we have a lot of dynamic range to work with. So even if my DP overexposes a shot or underexposes a shot, I know that information, I can recover that in post. So it's not that big of a deal when I'm directing on set. I like to try and get obviously as close to the final image as possible, but it's not the end of the world if they are exposing for the wrong thing. I can always recover that because the V Raptor has 17 stops of dynamic range, and I forgot how many the Alexa. Let me look at that up. Hold on 1 second. Alexa Mini LF dynamic range. The dynamic range on the Alexa Mini LF is 14 stops. So, it's pretty close to the V Raptor, but I know that a lot of times that information can be recovered. So, I mean, here I don't want to go too crazy with contrast, so you can go just a little. And this is where things like the mini panel come in. For those of you who don't have the money to buy a mini panel, a DaVinci Resolve mini panel, you can always purchase um, a Stream Deck. And the neat thing about the new Stream Deck is it has knobs now. So, and you can actually link these knobs to the wheels within DaVinci Resolve and actually color grade with this. There's a lot of colorists who take a budget-friendly approach to grading, and they'll use their Stream Deck to color grade. And I know I know colorists, Hollywood colorists that also use a mini panel in a Stream Deck. So it really just depends on you and your workflow. All right. Okay. Um, so let's go to the next scene. So this stock footage I feel looks pretty good. If we go into full view, can all of you see when I go in full view? Is that like a thing? Do you lose visibility if I go into full screen mode? What might help is if I actually, instead of sharing window, I'll share the screen. Yeah, I know you can't see the scopes, Cloak. I addressed this in yesterday's live stream. Unfortunately, I have no way to share the secondary monitor where my scopes are, unfortunately. So I'm going to stop sharing my window, and I'm going to go to sharing my entire screen. So hopefully when I go into full screen mode, all of you can see that now. So, here I think we have a pretty good job here of these 3 shots being shot matched. I'm pretty happy with that. Now we can move on to color grading the rest of the scene. All right, let's check for questions in chat. Let me see. Yeah, Alvin, thanks. I figured when it went into full screen mode, you guys probably couldn't see. Cloak says, I think COVID had big impact on this. Movies moved to online services like Netflix, and they kinda merged with series. Yeah, I agree with you. I think well, if you look at the strikes, right? I know that SAG is still in the middle of their strike. Writers Guild settled, but um, came to an agreement, I should say. But yeah, a lot of it, people think it's mostly has to do with AI. It really, there's a lot. Yes, the AI is one issue, but another issue is the streaming platforms. And as many of you know, we also own and operate a TV network, and streaming platform Night TV Plus. And I can tell you that there's really very little profit in it. And with the cost of the titles that we have with Night TV Plus and what it costs us, as well as the cost to operate the platform and everything. There's very little profit right now, and streaming platforms trying to find a way to profit off of it. Because, for example, you, Alvin, you can come in and say, okay, I'm going to sign up for a month of Night TV Plus with and then as soon as you're done watching the shows that you want to watch, you can cancel, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. So ideally, let's say for example Disney Plus or Netflix, they come in and they spend 7 million on a series, to be able to have the rights. They're called avails, right? They have licensed avails to be able to show on their platform. um, there's nothing stopping you from paying 19.99, watching the entire season and binge watching it in one weekend, and then canceling your account. The profit margins are just not the same as they were with linear television. Linear television profit margins were very different, and the actors got paid residuals, they've got paid on reruns, and it's really difficult, especially when you have platforms. We're not required to disclose what people are watching and how much of it they're watching. As a matter of fact, if you go into Netflix, their public filings is a public company. You're not required to disclose that. So these actors don't know how many times their shows are being watched. They don't know what, it's amazing. So much has changed with television and with streaming platforms. A lot of that was, ushered in by these new streaming platforms. So yeah, there's a lot of changes going on. Anyway, I don't see any questions, so I'll go back to grading. All right. Cool. So hopefully all of you can see DaVinci. Let's go back to our tree. Oh, you know what? I was going to show all of you shared notes. Okay, raise your hand if you know what a shared note is. I'm just kidding. I can't see your hands. That was a joke. Let me know if any of you actually raised your hands in the comments, because that would be funny. So shared nodes are incredibly powerful. I'll come in here. I'll use pre as an example. So I typically only use um, use shared nodes in my pre and my post group. Let me tell you why. When you use a shared node, you are basically creating this node that you have the ability to access from any clip, right? So let's say, for example, I take this noise reduction and I save it as a shared node. All right. What's going to happen is anywhere that I apply that shared noise reduction node, it will affect all of those clips when I make changes to it. Let me show you what I mean. All right, I'm going to save as a shared node. All right, did all of you see that? Did you see this right here? Those little arrows? That indicates that it's a shared node. Now, the other neat thing about shared nodes is it will by default lock that node. So you cannot make any changes to it. Watch, if I change that all the way to red, it's not making any difference whatsoever. That's because the node is locked. So whenever you need to make changes to a shared node, you have to right click on it and say lock node, and you need to uncheck that, and then you can make changes to it. But by default, it's locked. So I've changed this noise reduction to a shared node. Now, let me unlock this. I'm going to apply the noise reduction filter. Okay, it's enabled, and let's set that. Let's just leave that at the default of 3 frames. Okay. Now, the problem with noise reduction, I've talked about this before, is it will peg your CPU. It will kill it. It's really difficult to preview stuff when you've got noise reduction on. So I typically disable it when it's not in use. Anyway, So I've applied that noise reduction. That noise reduction is a shared node. Now watch what happens if I go over here and I right click. I say add node. Now, do all of you see this right here? There's a new node. There's a new node now underneath these add node in this add node menu. There's now a new sub menu here called noise shared node. Okay. So I can add that as a shared node. I can take this and just drag it right here and it's in line. And now this shared node is on this pre-group. Okay. Now watch what happens when I change that node. If you kind of keep an eye over here and look at these, I'm going to unlock this. And let's say, for example, I drag all of this to red, right? It's affecting that. Oh, let's bring that back. Okay. Oh, let me clear that out. All right. Pre-group. Come back, pre-group. Oh, that wasn't. Oh, it must not have been on that scene. Sorry about that. Where did I put that shared node at? Do all of you see that? Was it the shootout scene? This isn't even part of a group. Oh, you know why? That's the clip. Okay, there we go. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so you can see here that it's affecting that. It's basically shared nodes, just to kind of put it really in simple terms. Your shared node is basically a way for you to throw, think of it kind of like a power bin for those of you who are familiar with power bins. It makes it available to you for in the rest of your timeline to apply to other clips. So now that this is a shared node, any adjustments or changes I make on that shared node will affect the other nodes where it's sitting. Um, so anyway, that's what a shared node is. I don't need to do an entire dedicated video on it, but I just wanted to show you, um, and then see you can transform this back to a regular connector node or save it as a shared node. We can leave it as a shared node. I'm fine with that. Um, but yeah, let's see, IDT. We don't need that on. Oh, looks like we disabled those. I don't know how those got disabled. Okay. What's going on with this? Is that enabling? Those nodes look off, don't they? It's a bug? What's going on? Shouldn't have anything to do with that shared node. Let me try cutting that out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's doing that. All right. Not doing any IDT. That is so weird. Have any of you seen that before? Never seen it happen. That happened before. Try apply grade. All right. All right, I'm gonna do the. It reminds me anyway. I should be doing the luminosity in the pre-group. So I will find our hero. There we go. Do our color balance. going quickly. Work smart, not hard. Can either balance against that or a cloud. Kind of like it's better. Yeah. Then we can make the individual changes on a clip level here, but let's go ahead and start bringing in some contrast. Go into our color space aware tools. Now we can add a vignette if we wanted to. You know, I tend not to go too crazy with vignettes. Let's go to our power windows. Make sure we're got it situated properly. Again, I don't like anything looking too much like an Instagram photo. I don't know. I get like Instagram vibes whenever I use vignette. Give me a thumbs up if you agree. But I don't know. I don't like to use vignettes all that much. I tend to use the spotlight more. But we can throw a little vignette in here just for fun. Okay, so we've got all this is part of the same group. Maybe bring the loom up a little bit. Expose for the talent. I'm going to bring in some white balance this. I feel like since we white balanced at the pre-level, I probably don't need to do too much here, but let's see. Get my scopes. If I draw here, so all of you can see. If I draw just a little area here, you can see it's kind of in the center. We can go ahead and bring that back. Sorry, I'm trying to arrange everything. Hate that we lose the. I mean, it's definitely cooling it off a bit if I balance for that particular area. You can see it's definitely not as warm. I actually don't like. I think I'm gonna leave it at the current balance at the group level, and then just bring in some contrast. So try things that might not work. It's there's no harm in trying things. See if try something, see if you like it, and then disable, enable, see what works best for you in telling your story. I feel like since this is the desert, it needs to be warmer. So now I can go in here and I can just focus my spotlight on the talent. Remember, you want to try and bring the loom up a bit more since we're going to be spotlighting. And again, if we're blowing out other areas of the shot, that's okay. We'll fix that with our power window. Go here. And then I can just bring the exposure down now. Getting a little bit more of a focus on our main antagonist right here. Or our bad guy, I should say. So it's slight, yeah. All right. So, I don't know, are you all happy with this image? I think we can move on to the next clip, right? Unless you think we need to maybe darken the bottom. Can always do that. You know, if you want less attention being drawn to the bottom of the car. Again, if you want, we can, we can vignette it. Not too bad, I think. Next, we've got our DEA agents. Go ahead and apply the node tree. So now I want to say these are part of their own different group. Yep. So if you can see that they're clearly got their own group going on. Um, so let's see. You can see with the green chain link at the bottom what's grouped with what. So I created a separate group for the DEA, and I can right click on it, look at groups, and you can see where it's at. It's part of. Oh, you know why? This was shot with the DJI Ronin. So I actually created a completely different group for the DJI Ronin 4D. The neat thing about the DJI Ronin, for those of you who've never seen it, is the lens will actually detach from the main camera brain from the body, allowing us to mount the lens apparatus, the lens to the front windshield where you see this shot right now. So it's mounted to the front windshield, and the camera system is actually below it. And it allows us to really get any kind of shot anywhere with just the ability to detach that lens. And this is very similar to the Sony Venice, which is a much more expensive camera than the DJI Ronin 4D. But this is a great camera in that regard. Now, it does have its own, color grade process that's going on. So you can see this looks a lot more like a log image. So if you want, we can go down here and we can say, okay, DJI D gamut, and then input gamma is DJI D log, and you can see here that we can do a color space transform on that. Then we can bring in our luminosity. Got a good thing going here. Yeah, looking at my scopes doesn't look too bad. Should say so myself. All right. So now, uh, window. By the way, you can have saved layouts. So if your layout gets screwed up, I don't know if you saw that, but it's the reason why the layout got screwed up was because it was on my iPad and then I dragged it to my XDR. But you just go to layout and then just click on your layout. You can save different layouts. So I've got a layout called Night Studios. Anyway, so here we can check our color balance. So if you look down here in the mids, we can see that our skin tone is right on that skin tone line, which is good. Our whites clearly right there in the center. I don't know if you can see that on the live stream. I don't know how it looks on your guys' end, guys and girls, but hopefully it doesn't look too bad and the compression isn't screwing this up too much. But yeah, I feel like we have a really good starting point here. And then we can go and balance, and we can try and do a quick auto balance and balance against maybe. And if you look at the values on the RGB values, it gives you an idea of how close to white it is, which is 255, 255, 255. But you can just kind of drag all around until you find something that's got the highest numerical value. I feel like that was like kind of right up here, 199. I thought I saw 200 somewhere. Yeah, right here. So there you go. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Mm, what you all think, but that looks pretty good. All right, so for Loom, I don't think we need to really make anything because we're grading the entire pre-group against this one shot. So usually don't have to touch Loom. Balance again, same thing. And then we can go in here and bring in some contrast. And again, for those of you who are like, hey, Alyssa, should I use the contrast slider on the primaries wheels screen or the HDR wheels? Totally up to you. No wrong answer to that, as usual. It's whatever you feel. Just remember the HDR wheels, the log wheels are going to be color space aware, which is the primary wheels are not. So you're going to get more finite changes there. But I'm pretty happy with all this. Do all of you think we should add a spotlight here? Do you think we should maybe spotlight him? Or maybe, yeah, see, we got the spotlight here. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what you all think. Maybe we should bring this down. Maybe just kind of get more of a spotlight going on our main talent here. We widen it. You don't think that's too much, do you? That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah. Now, at first I was like, oh my God, it's a belt pack from his microphone. It's a microphone belt pack. Oh my God, how did I not catch that? And then I realized it's actually his walkie-talkie as a DE agent. It's a prop, so I was fine with it. But that can happen. All right. So this is all part of the same group, so we should be pretty good here. It is outside the vehicle, so you know, you want to look for things, especially look in your scopes that nothing is blown out. Um, but I mean, if you look at these scopes, they look pretty good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. This is the power of groups, everyone. Power of groups. Loving those groups. Um, you can just do so much with it. I will bring my new node tree over. So all right, that did get a little darker when I did that. Let's bring some luminance back into there. So again, this is our Ronin 4D. You can tell, right? So here, this is Red V Raptor. This is the Ronin 4D. And then for the airy footage, you'll actually see the word airy. Where is it? A lot of the shootout we use the Ronin 4D because we're moving so much. A lot of this is airy raw. There it is. So you see the airy raw. Okay. I wonder if I don't know what you all think. Maybe we should add another power window here. What do you all think? We go in here with like a power window. Darken the outsides a little bit. I don't want to go too crazy, but yeah. All right. I'm good with that. It's good. It's good. Oh, you all think we made it too dark? Should we lighten it up a little? Maybe we went a little too crazy. All right. Well, let me see if there's any questions. All right. Yep. Cloak's good. Yep. Looks good. All right. Cool. Awesome. Those look like old comments about not being able to see stuff. Looks like you guys are all good. All right. All right. All right. Ooh, got a lot of people watching today. Hello, if everyone's like, hey, by the way, everyone, I want to say like it's dropped down a lot, but about 80% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you think you're subscribed, just confirm right now. Just pause for a minute, confirm. Trying to definitely drive up the subscribers. Definitely subscribe. Please take a moment right now to just subscribe, hit that bell icon, and like this video if you like it. If you like sitting in my color suite with me, color grading. All right. It's like you're looking over my shoulder while we color grade together. Love it. Loving it. All right, so let's bring our tree in. Hopefully all of you like my color tree, at least version 2.1. If you haven't yet, definitely go download it. It's in the Night Studios Insider Forums. I'll say that again in case there's any new viewers right now. You can go to nightstudios.com in the top right hand corner. There's a button that says join now. It's free. You can join the Night Studios Insider. And in the Insider Forums, you'll see a download link for my latest tree, my latest node tree. You know what? I'm gonna install this update. Omniscope says there's an update. I'm just gonna freaking install it because it's bugging me. They come out with new updates a lot, which is cool. Like you can tell there's definitely active development going on because a new update was installed yesterday. So this is the next day, and there's already some bug fixes and new features. So you'll notice that about Omniscope is they update their software a lot, which is cool. Oh, and if you buy Omniscope, definitely make sure to mention to them that you heard about them from me. Just started a new exciting partnership with Time and Pixels. Yeah, they're at 110.8.2. Looks like we got some bug fixes in there. Cool. For those of you who are not aware and have not seen my studio tour video, my color suite tour video, I do use the Ultra Studio 4K Extreme 3, and there's a direct plugin for it. So it actually is grabbing this signal, believe it or not, is being grabbed raw directly right out of my Extreme 3, my video capture appliance, which is super cool. Yeah. So, gosh, I wish there was a way for me to share the video screen from my iPad to all of you so you can see it, because really helps you being able to see Omniscope. Whenever I do any major things in Omniscope, I'll drag it to this monitor for all of you to see it. All right, so let's check our Luma. I feel like this probably needs a bump in the Luma. Expose for their faces. Don't worry about this blown out area over here. We'll deal with that. Color balance. I don't know. I feel like, look at my scopes. I mean, everything. If you can tell just by looking at it if something feels off, but if you look at that, I mean, it's pretty damn balanced. Like, look in the highs in the middle of the highs scope, in the middle of the highs vector scope. See that? It's pretty well balanced. I don't have any complaints about this balance right now. All right. Let me know in the comments if all of you are learning new stuff. Hopefully you're all learning at least one thing new during these live streams. I want to always be teaching you something new. All right, so balance is good. I'm happy with balance. Let's bring in some contrast. Ah, too much. That sucked. All right, let's see. Make sure we won't have anything funky going on in the pre-group. So you can see we've got some lumen balance in there already in the pre-group. So I'm doing very little over here at the clip level. You saw we brought in a little bit of balance. I contrast. Yeah, by the way, don't go. You can definitely overdo contrast. You definitely want to monitor your scopes. Make sure you're not crushing anything or overexposing. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're good here, right about here. All right. Let's throw in our spotlight. I kind of want to emphasize him. He's closest to the camera. This guy's kind of off in a bokeh, kind of bokeh in the background. All right, now we can come in here and we can either use our curves or we can, again, use the HDR wheels to bring that down. And you can see the other dude kind of just fades off into the background. I'm going here. Maybe we want to emphasize his face more. But I like that, right? Looks good. Nice skin tone. Nice sort of emphasis on him. And you can see things are about to go down. Oh, this one definitely needs help. All right, so you notice how our eyes just kind of adjusted to this clip. Now we're moving on to the next clip, and we can see there's definitely a lot wrong with it. Our loom. Let's find our hero image. You can see it starts to get a little blown out here. We'll fix that. But maybe we bring this down a little. I feel like this is kind of our hero right here. Right? Kind of go a little. We can darken. Balance. We'll get to the darken in a minute with power windows. Check our balance. Maybe we balance against this up here. That's pretty good. Yeah, it looks nice, doesn't it? Nice. Did you notice the change in the sky? A little bit more teal. It's pretty good. All right. Okay, so let's bring in some contrast. Again, we don't want to go too crazy. Monitoring my scopes. I think right about there. Then we can just bring in our power window. How's the music, by the way? I think it's still ambience today. Ambient music, I should say. All right, let me darken this. Yeah, kind of feel like we're crushing those blacks a little too much. I feel like I do kind of want to bring in a little bit of darkening on the sky. So let's do that. We don't want to make it too obvious, but the anamorphic flare there. I love our anamorphic lenses. Yeah, kind of like it. Looks good. All right. And we have this outdoor shot. I'm trying to be really careful of the where I grab looks from, but we can always right click over here and grab this look. Apply grade. And now we start off with a little bit of an easier. Again, we've got, we've lost information in the sky, but we can fix that. Let's expose for our faces. Right there. And color balance. We don't like what auto comes up with. We can always do our own manually. Pretty teal. I don't know if I like that. A little too teal. That look kind of weird. Let's see if we can find another area. $203. Kind of looking at that R value. Oh, there's 216. Let's try that. Yeah, it's coming in like super teal. I don't like that. Let's do this. Let's grade against. See, I'm zooming in here. Let's try that. You see that specular highlight right there? highlight. I think it's a little better. Yeah. The other one was like way too teal. Wasn't liking that. Bring in some contrast. Checking my scopes. Let's bring in a spotlight. A little bit of a smaller subject now. Yeah. Oh, that was the VFX, by the way. Make sure you're on the right clip at all times. Let's try actually going against this. Let's grab this grid. Kind of same thing. All right. Got a lot of movement here. I actually think we might not be able to use that spotlight. So our camera operator is moving between two different talents. So I'm actually going to undo this. And we're going to just grade for the whole scene. Balance for the whole scene. See, we're recovering information back from the sky. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot better. Let's bring some contrast in. Oh, wrong node. Feel pretty good about that. Okay, back to this shot. We can go ahead and take from this now. Bring our power window back over. Let's find our hero shot. All right, so he pretty much stays behind that, shooting from behind there. Let's just kind of give him some spotlight. Yeah, I don't really see any issues. We just grabbed from the other clip. Want to make sure all that's matched up. Let's go back to our light box. This is the light box I taught all of you about in the other video the other day. Take a look. It gives you a macro view of all of your shots. Make sure you're pretty well matched up on your shot matching. Clearly, we've got an issue here. We'll fix that. But I feel like the ones we've already done all look good. Do we have that angle? Yeah, right here. The other thing is when you grab a grade from another clip that you've already done, it's same angle, same lighting. You don't have to worry as much about shot matching because it's going to look pretty darn similar since you're grabbing that same grade. I might bring the luminosity down a bit. The sun may have moved. Feels a little hot. Pun intended. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right. Same angle again. We want to focus the attention of the viewers on that window while I'm blasting it with those shots. And yeah, this is clearly needing work. Much better. I feel like it's pretty good. The luminosity, contrast, balance, everything looks pretty good. I mean, we grabbed it from that same similar camera angle and shot. So I think I don't know, maybe you know what? Maybe we bring down the top with the power window and darken that a little bit. What do you think? Huh? Yeah, I like it. That way the sky isn't so kind of in your face, right? All right. Same angle. We'll steal this grade. He doesn't really move from there. Feel like it's a bit darker, right? Should probably bring that up. Oh, the other thing, everyone, there's kind of this refresh issue with you want to make sure update all thumbnails. Whenever you make grades, if you right click on your thumbnail and say update all thumbnails, it's going to update it with your latest grades. I can tell you right now that that's flaky. It doesn't always work. I usually have to quit DaVinci to get it to update. There's just quirks that all of you as DaVinci Resolve users, you know what I'm talking about. There's just these weird little quirks that I'm not going to open a support ticket with DaVinci on every single one of them. That's just hoping someone else or their developers will catch it and fix it. But yeah, there's just these quirks with DaVinci where like things like that, where update all thumbnails doesn't work. And it's fast and easy just to quit DaVinci and reload it. Let's see. Same angle, we'll steal it. And then you have kind of the shootout coming to an end here. Do we have this angle? Yeah, let's steal that one. That way we have the same kind of tealy looking look. Maybe a little more contrast. Steal that one. See? Oh, that's got a problem. All right. Bring that in down. Remember, we want to expose for his face. I'm going to grab. I feel like the balance is pretty good. Let's check it just in case. What if I were gray? 223, I think I saw. I saw 223. Kind of yellowy. A little too warm, right? Doesn't really match up with this. Oh, but then again, that one's kind of yellowy too. I'll buy it. Let's see. Ooh, 225. Ooh, 230. 31. There we go. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot better, actually. Let's grab this one. Did we even balance this? I don't think we balanced this. Actually, let's do this. Let's say shot match. See what it does. Oh, that looks awful. All right. Let's just try and fix this balance ourselves. We can find a 223. $207. Oh, 223. Yeah, we got the same grade. Same balance, I should say. I keep calling it grade. Yeah, it's a little better. I don't know. It still feels off, right? That's totally, I feel like that's not matched. It might be just the luminosity. Let me see. Let's look at our scopes. Okay, yeah, there's definitely way more red here in this shot. So I mean, we have an option here. We can do we want a warmer look or do we want it more cool? Here, I kind of, I don't know about all of you, but I kind of like this one better. I kind of feel like we should match up with that. Yeah. Okay. So what we can do is just fix it with offset. We can just bring in more blue. You know, we could do it with offset or we can do it with our gain. About right, right? I mean, the scopes look pretty similar now. This one's got a little bit more blue, but you're also talking about a completely different angle. See how it's angled up more towards the sky, the blue sky, and we don't have as much sky here. So you know, I mean, it's not gonna get perfect, but you know, we're clearly cooling the image off. Let's check our light box. It's a good way to kind of compare, contrast. I mean, here's the problem. You know, we're cooling it off according to that image, but if you look at the previous image of that angle of the car, it's warmer, right? So, I mean, we have a decision to make as colorists. We can, you know, just continue with sort of this more warmer look, or we go off with this cooled off look. Let me see what you all are saying in chat. Hey, Corey, welcome to the community. Thanks for being here. I'm wondering if you didn't start from the beginning of this video. I actually covered VFX stuff. Um, Having trouble understanding your question. How do you work with VFX shoots? Do you get files as composite? So, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I covered action VFX and overlays and compositing. So making sure to set the composite correctly. Hey, Ollie, good to see you. Good to see all you. Thanks for joining us. Oh, it's Shannon. Hey, everyone. Shannon is the CEO of our co-producers, Tego, so welcome her. Hey, Shannon. It's good to have you here. Oh, thanks for the warm compliments. Can't wait for that dinner tonight. Excited about that. But yeah, so I mean, we as colorists, we have a decision to make. We can grade against this warmer shot, right? Or we can grade against this cooler shot. I kind of like the cooler shot. It's a little more cooled off. I get that but we also have to take into consideration that we're also in the middle of a desert. We're on the border of Mexico, right? And so, you expect it to be a lot warmer. So maybe we should stick with the warm look and the rest of these images are a lot warmer. So I'm kind of leaning towards just grading against the warmer look. So I don't know. Let's do that. Let's just grade it. Let's stick with the warm theme we got going on. We can take this highlight, sort of grab that. See, it's grabbing that cooler look if we go there. So let's go a different area. Mm, It's a little warmer, warmed up a bit. Or we could just kind of go over here to a previous angle and just grab that, right? Oh, where'd we go? Like right here. Apply grade. So there you go. So well, I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, as long again, remember, you're not ever making a wrong decision as a colorist. It's just is it defensible? Is your grade defensible? Can it stand up to, can you stand up on a podium and defend the grade, defend the decision? And this is defensible where it's warmer because we are in a warm climate. It's 120 degrees out there. We're in the middle of the US Mexico border in a shootout. I can defend that. I can defend that more warm image. So I say we keep it. I say we go with it. It matches up with the rest of the images. So let's keep with it. So I'm gonna right click here. I'm gonna steal that grade. So we definitely need to bring that loom down. That luminescence is way too high. Bring that down. And I'm exposed for the talent. So we are going to put our power window here, and then we can darken our image a little bit more, give a little bit more emphasis to our talent right here. Looks great, right? That's a shot for IMDb. All right. I like it a lot. Those of you who remember Jim Carrey. All right. And I'll steal that grade. And it's a little hot. I think it's a little hot. I think we could probably bring down the luma on this. That's such a great word, isn't it? Luminescence. Luminescence. Such a great word. All right. And we have our power window. Probably needs to come like right here. Probably darken that. Remember, little goes a long way. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so you see how it's I think let's try to track this. All right, and I am gonna do a dedicated video on how to fix broken tracking because that seems to be a common question. So if I take this, right, and I take this window, uh, because there's movement, right? We want that power window to stay with our talent. So let's track it and see how well of a track we get. So if I go here and then just click that, it'll track forward and backward. So now it looks like we got a pretty good track that time. I feel like now you're probably wondering, okay, Alyssa, it kind of goes off right here. How do we fix that? Well, if you change to frame, you have the ability to adjust it. And if you notice, it's creating a new key right here, a new keyframe. It's so now the tracker will remember that, and I can still adjust it. And this is how you fix a broken track. I'll do a whole video on it, but it's I mean, and again, and on a TV set, on a film set, you're not going to always be able to get a perfect condition for a perfect track. So you always want to be able to know how to fix this kind of stuff, which is the purpose of this channel, right? More real world help. All right. So now I kind of feel like this is a little dark. I feel like we need to bring this up. Yeah. So we go here. And our, not a bad track, right? That's not bad. It turned out pretty good. So now we have the Pulp Fiction look going on here. I'm going to just start off with a regular node tree right here. And we'll just start over. Oh, you know what? Do you know? I don't know if you noticed that, but it's not in a group. That's not grouped. It's all by its lonesome. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to throw this into the DJI Ronin 4D group. That's in the group. Oh, this one we need to definitely grade for. I don't know how much I like that spotlight. You see how there's kind of like the spotlight effect on him? Not sure how much I like that. We can bring that down. So we could do that one of two ways. We could bring down here on our Luma, or I'm sorry, bring up our Luma so there isn't as much of a difference. And then here under the power window, maybe we brought our exposure a little down too far. There we go. Now it's not as in your face. Okay, so now that we should have the color space transform on. We've got our CST. Now we can grade or color correct. Sorry. Such a great shot. I don't know about you. I love this shot. It's like one of my favorite shots in this show. All right, so I feel like the Luma's good. We're color correcting. We're exposing for their face. Let's bring in our white balance. Go here 230. That's low. Ooh, that's a nice balance. And bring in some contrast. And we can go ahead and get our spotlight going. And I think it's BZ that's actually talking in this scene, so we'll get the emphasis going on BZ. We'll bring up this. And then the spotlight we'll bring down. All right, let's see if we can get a track going, an accurate track. I was about to say there's nothing really interfering with it except this trunk that will eventually open and close. I feel pretty good about that. I don't know what you all think. Good enough for the government. All right. Now, there is definitely a halo going on here. I do not like it. And so you're probably wondering, okay, how do we fix that? So, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this and we'll steal from that grade. And first we will fix our luma here. Get a good exposure going. And our spotlight. A lot of this has to do with like feathering and how much you feather. You can see that it's being affected. And how much you bring that exposure either up or down. You notice if I do that, look what happens. You can, the halo is a lot more prominent, right? So we don't want to go too crazy with that. So, and you see our halo's gone. You do want to bring in probably a little bit more contrast. Yeah, I like that. Go back here and take from this. And we can already see some noticeable improvements happening. Now, if we want, we can always create a second spotlight. Go here, and then uh, let's say we want to spotlight him as well. Add a parallel node. And I can just go ahead and create the same sort of window for our other DEA agent. You cannot do two windows on the same node. You need to make sure you're aware of that. Again. There. I like that. Apply grade. And here we obviously need to fix this. Again, if you're getting a halo effect, just, adjust your exposure. Just remember there's a dance between the spotlight and the luma node that you need to do as far as, you know, adjusting for any of those problems. We can also come in here and we can bring the luma down of the overall sky if it's, just too much. And just start bringing that exposure down. You don't want to make it too obvious again. Don't go crazy. It's not bad, right? It's just the feathering as well. Get a little bit more subtle. Now you can all see why sometimes some feature length films and TV, especially feature films, will take months, if not, more than a year to color grade. I mean, it is true. The TV show, the film is made in post. It is not made in production. It's made in post. And you can see why you really just got to take your time. It's really a dance that you're doing with all these different nodes, and achieving that look. I like this look a lot more than this one, so I'll go back and I'll just right click and steal that grade, right? And so we get a little bit more. Now I got to go back in here and I need to fix these power windows now, right? So, so just, I mean, just understand, once you make a change to one node, you really want to make sure that, you do the same thing with the other. So when you go to your light box, you can take a closer look at your shots and make sure they all look pretty good. We probably have some halo. Got a halo going on right here, so I can come here and maybe bring this down. Maybe lighten that up a little bit more so we don't have. I mean, you definitely, it's more prominent in the light box, but when you actually bring it up, there's not really, can't really see that halo, right? Right. So let's see. Okay, so we clearly need to do some work here. You can tell just by looking at the node tree that it's the old node tree. So then let's go to our spotlight window. I think he's the one with the lines. Yeah. Bring him here. Yeah. There. Like that. And then steal that grade. And we have our scene, right? So if we go all the way to the beginning, right, like I taught you, all right, let's watch this all the way through. You always want to watch your scene all the way through, because what happens when you're color grading is your eyes will adjust to the grade, which is why it's so important regarding control of your ambient light. But like, you may watch something and say, "Oh, that looks great. That looks beautiful." But, you'll grade and then you'll come back to it and you'll realize that your eyes were adjusting to the previous clip or over adjusting, and you needed to go back and look at it again and determine if you needed to make any changes. Your eyes are always going to adjust. They'll always adjust to an individual scene or clip, and you always want to go back through and rewatch it for make sure that everything is tied together and it's good to go. I'm gonna fix that smoke, but I think overall on the grade, it's looking good. I mean, there's some little small things here and there we can tweak, but I'll go in there and tweak. But I think the coloring looks it's pretty good. Again, just remember there's a lot of compression and going on with this live stream right now with all of you, so I don't know how it looks on your end, but I mean, on this side, it's looking amazing. Looking buttery. All right, so now we're at our cartel dinner scene. My wife is gonna kill me if I don't take her to go get something to eat. So I will break, and then, we'll go ahead and start with the cartel meeting. They've just found out the mom, the head of the cartel, just found out that their drugs were seized at the border, and it was an astronomical seizure, like $100 million worth of their fentanyl was seized at the border, and she's finding out right now. So you can tell she's not exactly happy. So we're gonna go through and grade this. We've got a lot more airy footage now, so we're gonna be dealing with the airy footage now. But um, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, answer any questions before we jump over to that. All right. Alvin, great watching you work. I downloaded your power grid and it's helpful. Thanks, Alvin. I appreciate that. That's really I'm so glad I'm helping all of you and you're all getting value from this. Catch me up. What app is she in? Oh, this is DaVinci Resolve. Um, Thanks for joining us, Eric. It's me from the trunk thing. Yeah, I love that view. It's a great shot. Scopes, yes. King Rago, welcome. Again, a reminder to all of you to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on scopes. Some scopes is just something that I know. Here, let me share my screen again. Show you all this Omniscope goodness. But I'm gonna definitely do a dedicated video on Omniscope because there's so much you can do with this thing. It's insane. You even have a 3D color cube that you can mess around with as well. It's an incredibly powerful set of scopes. Unbelievably powerful. So just something to think about. But yeah, no, I appreciate Ollie, all of you joining. Thank you so much, Shannon. Good to see all of you, Chris, Ron. So I'm gonna be going to lunch. We're gonna go get some food, and then I'll be back, and then I can spin up this live stream again because I still have a lot more work to. Remember, we are grading against a timeline right now for Sundance Film Festival and Tribeca, so we definitely have a lot of work ahead of us. So if you want to continue and join me, I don't know. I think we'll be back in an hour or so from lunch. So we're gonna go get some lunch and then I'll be back and then I'll spin up the live stream again. So just monitor my YouTube channel and then hit that bell icon and it'll let you know when I go live. But yeah, good, great job, Ollie. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you let them know when you purchased it that you heard about it from me. So definitely give me a shout out. It'll help me with my relationship with them. So yeah, no, thank you so much again for joining us. Hopefully you all learned something. So I'm gonna kill the live stream right now, and then I'll be back an hour or so after I'm done eating. But yeah, I'll go get myself some sunlight on, Ollie. It's good having all of you in the community. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. Again, there's 4 different videos coming out this week, and I'm starting a vlog, which is going to be super cool. So I'm going to be uploading my first vlog this week. So I'm calling it In Living Color. So yeah, it's follow me in my journey as a colorist in Hollywood, and definitely, yeah, no, thank you so much, and I'll see you all of you back here in an hour or so. But thanks again. Great having all of you here.